Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of our Wellness Weekends. It is a beautiful Sunday. If you hear hacking sa likod, that's my dog. My dog is going through something. He probably needs your help, Doc Issa. With me is Dr. Issa Domingo, one of our Centro doctors. And today we are talking about traditional Chinese medicine and just going over the basics and what it is and how it is still actually very meaningful to our lives right now. So good morning, Doc Issa. How are you doing?
Morning, Kathy. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. My dog has been hacking. He has I think like pneumonia or something. Like I took him to the vet. Yeah, so like he sounds like it's I feel like I've been living with a truck driver for the longest. Yung dahak niya iba yung laman eh.
Oh, I hope he gets well soon.
Yeah, me too. I feel so bad for him. So I was like thinking like, oh my gosh, if there was only Acu for dogs, no? Like
Meron. Yeah, my friend brings her dog for acupuncture. I was like,
oh my gosh, I need your friends. I need your friends acupuncturist, dog acupuncturist.
Yeah, seriously, it really does. Parang matanda na yung dog niya eh. So for long life, to prevent illnesses, to bring balance to certain issues ng dog, pinapa-acupuncture niya.
Yeah, well, same. Yeah, this little guy is like, I think 10 or 12. Like, he's a rescue, so I'm not sure. Pero he's, maedad na siya. Medyo bungi-bungi na siya. So, which kind of, diba? Which kind of brings us, I think, to our topic today, which is apt, which is we wanted to talk about and just get an idea of traditional Chinese medicine. It's something that we use at the clinic, at our Centro clinics a lot. And I'll be honest, like when I first kind of heard of it, I was surprised because in my head, like the only like traditional Chinese medicine, like doctors that I know mostly like lived in Binondo, and there was always a language barrier. So, you know, it's always seemed a little bit of a mystery to me. So Doc, if you don't mind, can we start with like, what is traditional Chinese medicine exactly, and why is it still relevant today?
Okay. It's hard to say what it is exactly because it's one big field of medicine. But I think what sets it apart from what we see in hospitals is that it's rooted in very ancient knowledge. Unlike what they do in hospitals, there it's very physical, it's very modern. Here, if we're open to the term, it's actually like energy medicine. The core of TCM is qi, the energy that runs through your body. And that's like regulating with everything, not just acupuncture, but you know, like they have those herbs in Chinatown.
Yeah.
You know, those things are supposed to be moving energy a particular way. They enter different energy channels in your body, so they create an effect. Same with acupuncture. It's like those needles redirect the energy to create balance where imbalance was created based on whatever was presented in the illness. Same with movement. Like actually, Chinese medicine also encompasses Tai Chi, Qigong, because the exercises are supposed to move the energies around, fix certain channels. So that's the core of traditional Chinese medicine. It's about the energy that runs through your body. We always strive to regulate that. So it's very holistic compared to Western medicine, which I'm not against, but they're just different paradigms.
Yeah.
They think very differently, but they can complement if people are open to that.
One is super west, one is super east.
Super, as in
Super east.
polar opposites. Polar opposites, yeah.
Yeah, even the concepts are very different. Like I hear you like talking about like qi. There's also the concept of like yin and yang. There's my dog. So like there's always like striving for balance is what I'm hearing when it comes to when it comes to Chinese medicine. Yeah, I remember like I used to see this doctor in Binondo. But he was my TCM doctor. And it was his whole family. And parang the grandfather taught the dad taught the kids, etc. So it's like it became a family business. Problem was none of them spoke English or Tagalog. They would like speak bits and pieces of Tagalog. So I would go there and they would check my pulse and then
Yeah.
they would look at my tongue.
Yeah,
And
we do.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then from that, like they would come up now with like a diagnosis. And then they would prescribe me all these like things that I couldn't even read. Then I'd bring it down to like the pharmacy sa baba, and they would give me all these herbs and stuff. And then then they would like the Filipina would like explain na ano po to, tsaa to, so ibabol yung ganyan, blah 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 blah. And that was like my experience of TCM. So it was very parang very lost in translation siya. Hindi ko naintindihan kung ano nangyayari. So yeah, what is it? What does checking the pulse and checking the tongue have to do with TCM?
Okay, let's start with the tongue. So, in older times, they didn't have any machines, diba?
Mhm.
No way to check what's going on inside of you. But the tongue is the closest thing they have to looking at something inside of you without being invasive. So they actually mapped out the tongue. So different parts of the tongue represent certain organs.
Oh wow.
And yeah, the characteristics, the qualities of the tongue says something about what's going on in that organ at that moment. And it's actually it's so I don't know it's so detailed. I don't even memorize everything by now. I studied this for like 2 years, and it's so complicated. But ang galing, it's very real. So we do it also in the clinic. I have patients who some of them come to me every week, and every week nagbabago talaga yung tongue nila. I even take photos sometimes, so I compare. Progress notes ko ano itsura ng tongue nila.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's so weird, but it works. It's so real. Galing. So pulse naman, it's also the same. So just basically each hand,
Mhm.
you put your fingers. Sorry, I'm good. You put your fingers like that.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. They represent a certain organ. So 3 main organs in each hand. So the quality of the pulse, like I think there are how many? 28. They're so good in
Yeah.
characterizing the pulse, like 28 kinds of pulses. They
Yeah.
touch it and they know, oh, okay, something's going on in the kidney because the pulse feels this way. It's complicated, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
So people who have been doing this for years with passed on traditions, experts sila dyan, and just
Yeah.
touching your pulse and knowing that, there's something wrong with the heart. And they can go so into detail to it. Ang galing, like the ones I go to, ang galing din talaga eh. So that's the point of it.
Yeah, ang galing. I was like I remember like going like years ago, and yeah, they took a look at my tongue. They felt my pulse, and they were like, okay, thyroid, blah blah blah. They were listing down like my ailments, and I'm like, what sorcery is this?
Weird ba? But yeah, that's how it works. Ang galing because I guess we could go in a little bit to diagnosis and Chinese medicine.
Yes, please.
I tell patients it's like feng shui of the body. You know how in a room they diagnose a room based on the balance of the 5 elements.
Yeah.
It's actually very much the same. Or the balance also of yin and yang. So yin and yang and 5 elements. Those are very crucial in Chinese medicine. We look at how the 5 elements are balanced in the body, and the 5 elements are represented by certain organs. So that's where the tongue is. The tongue and the pulse is coming.
Got it.
Yeah. It's hard to explain that here, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. So I guess like if there's an imbalance somewhere, there would be like something on the tongue on like what side. And that would show.
They could Google it now, like the Chinese medicine tongue. It's there. Like the tip is the heart, next are the lungs, the sides are the liver. Okay, if you look at your tongue, or whoever was watching, they can look at their tongues. It's very common for people who are very stressed to have dots on the sides of their tongue. We call those heat spots because the liver I'm going ahead of myself, but very mind-body medicine because it's Chinese medicine. The liver accepts all the strong emotions in the body. So if there's heat in the liver, we notice that there's so much stress in the body, and this could be causing the person's imbalance.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that like we hold a lot of anger in our liver.
Exactly. That's where anger is stored.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's such a weird place to hold anger.
Kaya namin liver disease.
Oh,
So it's liver, and now may stored emotions, like unexpressed, so they're stuck there.
yeah, for sure. And I think like with what you're telling me, like what sounds very interesting to me is that, you know, going into, at least me, going into my idea of TCM or traditional Chinese medicine, I always kind of thought that it just had to do with like the physical, right? Like, you know, healing the physical body, like drinking the teas, etc. But it really is more than that. So like, how does our qi affect like our mental, emotional, as well as our physical health? Like they go all together, no?
Yeah. That's one thing I loved about Chinese medicine. It's mind body medicine actually. It's the only field that I heard. It's the only field where I heard that emotions could be a pathogen, and we talk about this in detail. What kind of emotion, where it goes, what organ is affected. Um, let's just say that strong emotions, one, they get stored in certain organs or the organ channels. Sometimes, kasi I just have to clarify. If I say it affects the liver, it doesn't just affect the physical liver. There's a liver channel, like an energy channel that passes through the liver. It goes from your feet all the way to your head. So sometimes it goes there. So it's the liver channel that's affected. So anything along that highway of energy could be affected. So anyway, um, emotions, they move energy a certain way. So I think there are five main emotions. So there are five elements and five main emotions that affect each element. So something like sadness, they say it would dissolve chi. It enters the metal element and it dissolves chi. So you notice that when you're really sad, when you're grieving, it's like there's no energy inside of you. You feel so lifeless because
Yeah,
the
or
chi
depressed.
depressed, yeah. Because they say like the chi melted in a way, it dissolved. Diba? That's one. The second one is fear. Fear is stored in the kidneys. So, and fear helps, fear makes your chi descend all of a sudden. So, you know how when you're so scared, naihi ka.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, your chi just drops. So, we
Mm.
see that in people. So, this isn't just like, scared na takot sa multo or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
at work when you're scared of a deadline, when you're scared of something. Like your energy is so imbalanced because all of a sudden your chi drops. So that's another one.
Okay.
Anger, like we mentioned, is started in the liver. That's the wood element. What does anger do? Anger stagnates chi. So all of a sudden your chi stops moving. Like there's so much stagnations in the body, and this can manifest physically as pain because naiipon energy somewhere. Eh. May
Yeah.
pain.
Inflammation.
And I guess yeah, you can say that there's heat, there's pain, there's imagine if something is just not flowing smoothly at home, whatever, in the road traffic, ganon. May naiipit, may stress na naipon doon. Where are we? Okay, that's the third. The fourth is overjoy. It enters the fire element. Overjoy is like overstimulating yourself because it's still an imbalance. Even if you're on the positive side, it's still an imbalance.
Yeah.
This one, what did they say? It scatters chi. So it affects your mind. Parang ang kalat-kalat ng utak mo.
Uh-uh.
Like going ahead, yeah, this is like
Literal like
drug.
sabog. Ang sabog mo.
Exactly. This the extreme of this is drug addiction. Like like party that. Like the effect of that after is ang sabog-sabog ng mind mo. So that's what's happening to the chi. The last one, where am I? This is the most interesting one. Overthinking, or worrying affects the earth element, the gut, stomach, and the spleen. That's why. And what happens is, what happens nga ba? It's parang stagnate din eh. Basta it stagnates chi. The way food can be retained, like if you're overeating, you're retaining food in your stomach and it's not flowing properly, but you get like indigestion and stuff. Same thing when you have too much thoughts. It goes to the same element. So it stagnates in your body again.
Mhm.
Yeah, and daming, let's just say, and daming may gut issues when you have
Yeah.
over worrier, overthinker.
That makes
Ganyan.
sense because we have like what we call like stress eating, right? Where we're just mindlessly eating because we're
Mhm.
overthinking and we get stressed out.
In a way, yeah, that's related. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing we look at talaga, like when we
Yeah.
analyze people, like what is there a strong emotion predominating somewhere?
Mm-mm. It's interesting that a lot of the strong emotions are negative. There was only one positive, but it was like not really positive because it was
No,
more of
it's
like a high.
not. It's an
Like,
imbalance kasi. These are like the
yeah.
extremes of emotions that people tend to have.
Mm-mm.
And these are these are in medical books in Chinese medicine. This isn't something I just read online.
Uh-oh.
It's something we really look at when we look at patients. Yeah.
So interesting. So like what about like our positive emotions? I guess that means that we're imbalanced. If we're happy, if we're feeling joy,
That's good.
um a
That's
good
good.
type of excitement. So that's balance. That's good for our chi.
That's good. Yeah, that's very
Okay.
good actually. That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. So it really is. So when you guys kind of like do a diagnosis, for example, so like you've checked my pulse, you've checked my tongue, like some like to like feel like under here. Um, like it's interesting, at least for me, that yeah, like when I would go to Binondo, like even if like they couldn't speak a word of like Tagalog, they already had these like sheets ready. So if it was like thyroid problem, they would give that, and there was like in broken English like what's happening to you. And there was always like they would always give advice about like the diet, like for example, like okay, eat more leafy greens, don't eat pork, etc. And then they would always have like some sort of try not to do stressful activities, etc.,
Exactly.
etc.
Yeah.
So it
Every,
really is super holistic.
yeah. You know
Yeah.
what's interesting because you brought up the diet. The one thing that really struck me with Chinese medicine, because I've never heard this in Western medicine. Western medicine tends to look at the ingredient, what's this? The key ingredient of something. That's why it
Mhm.
has an effect on your body. In Chinese medicine, they actually look at the flavors, the flavor
Yes.
of the food. So it's not just about, let's say, kunwari, you hear from your hospital doctor, like balanced diet. So akala mo magugulay, protein,
Mm-mm.
carbohydrates. But in Chinese medicine, that's not what balance means. Balance means you have all. Oh, of course, that's balance also, like good source of food, but
Yeah.
the flavors of the food. You
Yeah.
have to have enough sweet for the earth element, accurate or like spicy
Mhm.
for the metal element. You need salty for the what's this the water element, bitter, sour for the wood element for the liver, and bitter for the heart. Ganun. So kailangan balance na lahat yan. So when
Interesting.
patients, so when patients come in, part of my interview is like, do you have a craving for something? So you know how people usually have a sweet tooth because sweet
Yes,
enters.
I've been so guilty of that.
Sweet kasi, so the energetic, remember like Chinese medicine is all about energy. So the energetic property of sweets is that they harmonize everything. They enter the gut. They enter the earth element,
Mm.
which is the spleen in the stomach. And remember the emotion that I said is in charge there? It's overthinking, over worrying.
Mm.
So when someone has a sweet tooth, I kind of know, okay, gut issue,
Overthinker.
overthinker, yeah, imbalance in the earth element.
Mm-hmm.
Or some people naman they like sour food.
Mm.
That goes in the liver. Remember, anger in the liver.
Got it.
So that says something about the person. I just find it really interesting
Yeah.
about the
I think
flavors.
I think with a lot of us Filipinos, like our preferred flavor profile though is like sweet or salty, right? That's
Medyo
the
fear,
uh,
overthinking, over worrying. Although there's still a physical it doesn't mean there's always a mental component, but
yeah,
it's a possibility. It's a
yeah,
possibility. Yeah, it's
yeah.
something we consider in Chinese medicine. Yeah.
I think that's what's interesting because before I talked to you, I
Mm.
thought that sheet of paper that was given to me before was like it was a suggestion of like like what I should probably not be doing. Pero that's the diagnosis na pala.
ganon, oo. Parang siguro they saw where the imbalance was, di ba? Like the five elements. Like, saan doon ang imbalance mo? Okay, kunwari lang, it's in the wood element, kuwari liver, kuwari may anger. Okay, so these herbs will help balance that out. This food will help strengthen the liver, or well, depends if it's too much excessive energy, we have to drain it. Kung mahina siya, we have to strengthen it. So there's also different components of the energy. Parang ganon, these movements, these lifestyle habits, ganon.
Got it. And then that's how you would basically come up with a diagnosis or like your treatment protocol for that certain patient.
Yeah. Lifestyle is actually a huge part. I tell my patients now, you can't just rely on the acupuncture. You have to have lifestyle changes in the side, because I'm only rebalancing you for 30 minutes. What if you leave and like whatever you do, sinisira niya yung ginawa ko? Bali, wala. There's no point in what we're doing. So
yeah. I think that's the biggest difference, no, of parang, I think of like the mindset of coming in Western medicine versus Eastern. It's like with Western medicine, I expect you to fix me.
Yeah.
Right? You know, this is my problem. I have an expectation that you will fix me. And if you can't, then it's on you. Like you didn't do your job. But with Eastern medicine, it's more like you as the doctor, I'm here to help you, but you really need to do most of the work. I'm only here to like show you what you should be kind of sorting out in your life, basically.
Yeah. There's this one good saying. It's a very famous diagram that explains Chinese medicine. It compares Western and Eastern medicine. No, Eastern pala, not just Chinese. Western medicine, it looks at your body like you're a machine. Okay? When your body's a machine, the doctor is the mechanic. He or she is the one, can't think of a word, manipulating, doesn't sound right. But you get it, like it's the one working the machine. Diba? The machine is passively waiting for what the doctor will do. In Eastern medicine, they look at the body like it's a garden. So as doctors, we're the gardeners, but we work with an intrinsic energy inside that plant or that living being. Diba? Like, kunwari, you fertilize, you put under sunlight, you fix the conditions, and then you let that being wait, because you know that there's an energy inside that plant or that being that you're working with. So it's not as mechanical as like I do something, what I do, that's it. Ganon. That's I think a big difference between Western and Eastern medicine.
I love that. I think that's such a beautiful example. And like seeing them, I think the best is like seeing them how they work together. Like it's not really you know, West versus East. Like a lot of people kind of think, oh, you like if you pick one over the other, it's not. It's really like they complement each other so well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I never thought that, you know, like taking care of our emotional and mental well-being, how much it actually affected our physical, until I started working at Centro, and those were like my big aha moments, because in my head it's like, no, like this is totally separate. Like like my liver problems are totally separate from like what's happening to me emotionally and, you know, like I don't know, like mentally. But then, like, you know, like talking to you Centro doctors, parang you have just this wider understanding of, okay, so it's not just all this. Like, it's not compartmentalized.
No,
as much as we'd like to think.
No, very good term. Like, it's definitely not compartmentalized. Like you're one whole. Everything is it's working together, and everything you do, no matter how small, has an effect. Everything. That's I think a big difference also between Western and Eastern. Like Western, they like looking at studies, what creates an effect in the population, in, you know, like in this group. Like, it has to have a very short effect for them to use it. Chinese medicine, they go to the root of like the core of that thing. If that's food or a supplement, whatever, there will be an effect. No matter how small, there will be. So if you keep doing it, keep using it, it will accumulate in your body. So that
whether positive or negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So, Doc, what about like, at Centro, we get a lot of patients that come in for like they have various issues. And I know like the number one issue for a lot of women who come in is infertility. They have
Yeah.
problems with infertility or they have PCOS. And we use TCM to help them with a lot of those problems. Could you kind of get into that a little bit for us so we can understand?
Okay. So by the way, I didn't know that TCM could bring fertility before I started studying it, because my mentor was, I don't know if you've heard of Sister Regina Liu. She's very popular in treating infertility with acupuncture.
Mm.
So basically, everything I know is from her, and the core of it is women have so many imbalances in the body. That's why they're not at their peak of health. You can liken it. There's an integrative doctor who talks about fertility. There's
Mhm.
an OB-GYN who's also doing integrative. She likens the person to a plant. A flower is it's a sign of fertility for the plant. When
Mhm.
the plantitos and the plantitas, when your plants aren't healthy, they look very unhealthy and they don't have flowers, right?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, when you take care of it, when you fertilize it, give it good sun, you
Yeah.
fix the everything about the plant, and you start seeing a flower, and it's a sign of fertility. So it's the
Mhm.
same for us. Um, I think I have a lot of infertility patients because women nowadays in this modern age are so imbalanced. I mean, we don't sleep properly. The
Yeah.
food we eat isn't so healthy. Even if you think it's healthy, maybe like the source of the food can be laden with so much
Yeah.
chemical.
GMOs. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't have the essential nutrients that our bodies need.
Mm.
So the point being, ang daming imbalances in women's bodies now. So we just put the body back into balance. Um, a big thing that I treat, because my mentor told me to do this, is to calm the patient's minds. Because when you study Chinese medicine, the anatomy that we study is like the energetic anatomy of the body, and there are
Mhm.
12 main highways, and there are 8 deeper non-divergent energy channels. There's one deep channel that passes through the center of your body in front of us. Um,
Uh-huh.
this nourishes the uterus and the mind. It's called the Chong Mai. Um, when a woman is so stressed and chronically, like from the past, like the body is adapted to this stress, the mind tends to steal all the chi. So not enough energy goes to the uterus. So my
Mm.
patients who are very particularly for IVF, in vitro fertilization, um, it's a very stressful procedure for them. So my mentors told me make them come twice a week, a month before and a month after, because you really have to calm the mind. Because again, like you only have a certain amount of energy inside of you. You have to be careful where you deposit or where you use that energy. So if you're always stressed, like chronic stress steals all the chi. You don't have enough chi to nourish the other parts of the body. So
Mm.
that's one thing that we notice, like causing the imbalance in women with infertility. But the core of what we do, Matalaga, is we bring balance back to women's
Yeah.
bodies.
So how does acupuncture help with somebody with PCOS, for example, who's like trying to get pregnant?
Okay, because um, I guess one thing I have to mention also, if we talk about PCOS, is that I'm here to explain it, but they say there's a lot of dampness in the body. Dampness is like, um, like there's a river, and the river, if it's full of sludge, it's not flowing properly. So
Mm.
things tend to accumulate in the body. So with Chinese medicine, kasi, it doesn't talk about a certain diagnosis the way Western medicine does. Like, kunwari, you have pneumonia, you have PCOS,
Yeah.
you have something, ganon, di ba? Here, it looks at the totality of the being. So with PCOS, they notice you have a lot of dampness. You have a lot of like things forming inside of you, because you have what's this? You have cysts growing inside your
Mhm.
ovary.
Yeah.
they're saying that things are not flowing properly. That's why things are accumulating inside of you. So we have acupuncture points that we say to release dampness. We fix the diet. Certain
Mhm.
diets kasi it dampens the flow of chi. So um, it's you need a bit of an open mind to
Yeah.
start taking these kinds of treatments. But we don't do anything radical. Maybe the
Yeah.
most radical thing is coming every week for needles stuck in your body. But
Yeah.
it's also like it's pretty much functional medicine talaga. We do elimination diets.
Yeah.
We fix what they have to eat. Actually, at the core of it, because I also studied anti-aging medicine, they're
Mhm.
also the same. Like functional anti-aging and Chinese medicine, they're the same. You just
It's all diet related, like what you put in your body.
everything, the movements that you do, the diet that you do, the habits that you have. Yeah,
Mhm.
the core is the same. So anyway, I digress, but yeah, for PCOS, we remove what we call that dampness in the body. A lot of things get stuck. So um, we how do you say this? We make the chi cleaner. We make it
Uh-huh.
flow so much better, so it doesn't stagnate.
Yeah.
Remember, so chi stagnates. So
Mhm.
there's pains. Sometimes it doesn't manifest as pain. It manifests as cysts, as masses growing because it's stuck there. It's not
Got it.
flowing. Parang
Yeah.
siya na-traffic, ganon.
Mm-mm.
Open mind when we talk about TCM. You need a
No,
very open.
I totally get it. I guess it's because yeah, like just looking now that I look at health, at least for me, now that I look at health as it's everything that you do, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh, it's just like, this cyst is totally unrelated to the rest of me. It's just
No,
this growth that just suddenly appeared.
no,
Or like,
it's
oh, it's hereditary. Ganun talaga yung nanay ko, yung lola ko, all had it. So I'm having it and I'm just accepting it.
no. It's could be hereditary also. You could have inherited certain characteristics that affected your chi.
Yeah.
But again, there's a way to fix it. That's
Yeah.
I think that's the good thing about both TCM and functional medicine. It's very
Yeah.
personalized.
Yeah.
There's a way to fix it. There's a way to bring balance back to the body.
Yeah. And I think also, like, just with that example, also, I think realizing that, yes, it may be in our genes and we may have inherited it, but we also inherited how we eat from them. We also
Yeah.
inherited how we think, how we our mindset from them, which is probably why we're getting more of the same.
Yeah. That's another thing also. Definitely. Yeah, we call that the constitution, your inherited constitution. So
Hmm.
what makes you up at the moment is also like part of it is inherited from, like the genes you've gotten
Yeah.
from your relatives. Yeah.
Hmm. But it's also the lifestyle that you inherited from your relatives. Like,
That's
like,
definitely your eating
right?
habits, your everything. Yeah, everything talaga.
Like,
But again, it can be modified. Can be
yeah,
fixed.
exactly. Like, I know, like, in my family, like, my mom's side, super uso yung hypertension sa side nila. But then it's like, they all love, like, my mom's family is from Batangas, so pork is king.
Yeah,
And
meat
that's the
people
ulam, like, all the time.
Yeah, I know. My God, I've been to Batangas parties. All meat. Just I was a vegetarian before, wala akong makain. Kinakain ko
Yeah,
yung crispy,
exactly.
gitna ng buffet. With gulaman
Exactly.
sa gilid. Because it's all meat. Oh my
It's
God.
all me. And then their favorite is like humba, which is of
Yeah,
course
I
pork
know that.
laden with sugar. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that everybody has hypertension in that side of the family.
Exactly. And one thing that's interesting also, so because we keep talking about what affects the body, this is another thing that I noticed in Chinese medicine that they do not consider at all in Western medicine. It's the climate. Um,
Mm.
yeah, because so I just mentioned Batangas, like kung mainit, naisip ko lang, okay, yeah, that's one thing we can talk about. They say that the body is a microcosm of the macrocosm.
Yeah.
So what affects anything in the universe, again, open mind, anything in the universe affects your body. So
Mm.
let's say heat can affect, or heat, wind, cold, those things,
Yeah.
dampness, like rain, when it affects other things around the universe, that can also happen inside your body. So that's
Yeah.
another thing to look at. If there's too much cold in the body, there's too much heat, There's, again, I mentioned
Mm.
dampness already. So, yes, the food that we eat could create these elements inside the body. But
Mm.
even, naisip ko lang to because you mentioned the province. Like, kunwari you're out somewhere. Kunwari you suddenly went somewhere cold.
Yeah.
The cold around you can affect something inside of you. So I've actually treated patients that way. What's common ba? Rhinitis. Yun. Ang dami kong
Mm.
patients in rhinitis na ang dami ng steroids. Yung iba ayaw na maggamot. Yung iba hindi naman control. And I
Yeah.
find out they sleep with an electric fan in front of their face. So I just like,
Ah,
the wind.
yeah.
Because the
Always.
channel catches the wind.
Yeah.
And it works. So,
Yeah.
so you are, again, it's just saying that you're not disconnected to the world outside of you. Everything around you has an effect on your body. So that's something you have to consider also for good health.
That's interesting. So I guess like if you live in different parts of, I don't know, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I know like my friends who live in the UK, it's a lot colder there, a lot damper. They do tend to drink more to cope. So, you know,
Yeah.
balance. Tayo naman dito puro iced tea. So yeah, that makes sense.
Mali din yun. Oo, mali din yun. If you notice yung sa mga Chinese restaurants,
Yeah.
they ask if you put ice or ano, kasi they don't like cold. Ayaw nila ng cold because ideally
What is
daw,
that?
because ideally we're warm-blooded creatures, and cold, when it accumulates in the body, it can cause certain problems. So, it's, again, kanina you mentioned PCOS.
Mhm.
This might sound very strange, but by removing cold food, iced, anything, it can cure build anything building up in the body. Because if you can imagine, chi and blood, they
Mhm.
need to be warm to move.
Yeah.
But if you add something cold, it's like you're freezing a little bit of it. So it's not going to flow as well. So part of my treatment to my patients is nothing cold. Remove everything cold.
Interesting.
Nothing cold at all, because overall the quality of your chi won't be so good. Once you eat cold,
Mm.
also it goes to your gut, your abdomen. So let's say the cold temperature, it gets stuck there. So ang daming formations. If again, open mind, because things like
Mm.
myomas, they say in Chinese medicine, that's cold. Those are stagnations. So for you to, I don't know if you've experienced acupuncture in the clinic where we use a heat lamp
Yes.
over your abdomen, because you're
No,
making
I haven't yet.
things stagnating inside flow again. So
Got it.
it's not just about the food, but the actual temperature, the actual element entering your body. We have to eliminate that. Yeah.
Got it. That's why all my Chinese friends' moms are so
Don't drink.
mad at like cold water, and I know, like I remember like parati kami pinapagalitan, like don't drink that. Just
Yeah.
lukewarm water lang, like no cold water.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know the science behind it. Okay.
Yeah. There's a philosophy and the science, but yeah, ganun siya. Like, and there's dramatic effects in patients who I tell to stop drinking cold. Ang galing.
Mhm.
Try it if you want to cure something. Like,
No, I
everything.
have. I'm actually on an elimination diet now. So yeah, that's the same then. Like there were like no cold water, just drink like lukewarm or hot water is fine. Other than that, no. And yeah, I used to love like my iced teas. Like I have a sweet tooth, like I said. So yeah, this elimination diet has killed my sweet tooth. Like hindi na ako
Good.
makahanap ng matamis ngayon, and I'm like, this is so weird. Like this is so abnormal for me. Usually I'm like, I need a snack. I need like a sweet snack. Now it's gone.
How do you feel? How do you feel now?
Well, the benefit is definitely a lot better. Like I have higher energy. You know, like that brain fog is gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't realize because like we kind of you go through this world thinking that things are normal for you, but then normal is it depends on your lifestyle, kung ano nakasanayan mo. So now that like I'm kind of shifting my normal, it feels so weird, but you know, but I can see the results, and the results are working for me. So I'm happy with that.
You're
So, oh no, man. I mean, it's anyway. I think that's the thing. Like it's like traditional Chinese medicine, it's really, you need to go in and experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's if somebody just explains it to you, you
No.
won't fully understand it. But until you kind of sit down with like a Centro doctor, and they go through the process with you, and they explain, like, like why they're checking your tongue, and like why they're checking your pulse, etc. Like you get a greater appreciation for that, and as well as for your body and what it can do, you know. So yeah, well, anyway, I digress. I wanted to talk about acupuncture for a little bit, because it's such, for me, like, if you talk about TCM, the first thing that comes to mind is acupuncture, right? Like getting poked by needles. um I've had my experience, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, that looks so painful and ang dami." Could you talk about what acupuncture is, and like what people are to expect when they come in for a session?
Okay, so acupuncture again, but I keep talking about how we bring balance to the body. So if you can sorry, if you can imagine chi, it's like electricity inside of you. Acupuncture are metal objects, diba? So
Mm-hmm.
we put them in strategic points in your body. Remember we talked about the five elements earlier, how the imbalances there are. So once we have a proper diagnosis, we map out how to bring that imbalance back to homeostasis.
Mm.
There are certain points in the body that we use. They correspond to the different organs, to different elements again, and again, like yin and yang, ganon. So I tell patients, para akong electrical engineer. Like I am
Mm.
rewiring your body. And it's such a holistic experience. Well, in my case, because my mentors, they always teach me, you have to calm the patient down first. Parang nag-anesthesia ka muna. Because a lot of the issues in stem also from the mind. So I know other
Mm.
sets of doctors do this also. We start with your head. We
Yeah.
put needles up here, and they're very calming. For
Mm-hmm.
some patients, we even add ear acu detox because it
Yeah.
helps release anything that you're holding on to, any mental, emotional thing that you're holding on to, and then we rebalance the physical parts of the body. Although the parts down here also have mental effects. So ganun siya. So imagine, there's an electricity passing underneath you. When you have an illness, when you have a problem, there's something wrong with with the wiring of your body. So we rewire it back with these metal objects. We
Mm.
let the electricity flow, and it's always 30 minutes. Well, it's usually 30 minutes
Yeah.
because they say it takes your chi 30 minutes to make one round around your body. So
Ah,
once
okay.
it's one round, it gets all the cues from all of these like needles sending messages in your body
Mhm.
because each point has a function. So ganun siya. Ganun. So
Interesting.
procedure.
So it's kind of like with the needles, you're just telling the cheat, like, go here,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Go
Like
here, do
this is the
this.
track. Yeah.
Yeah, like, di ba we talked about the elements? Like some are like, okay, remove heat,
Mm-mm.
remove cold, or ito naman, like flow properly all over the body. And there's usually a local point. Like, kunwari lang, you have a shoulder problem. So you put points here because once you put needles here, you're calling the chi and the blood to go to the area.
Got it.
But you complement that with the other needles that direct your whole body to work to help this problem. So
Mm.
maybe you put the point to increase blood flow, to create more blood, to create more chi, to calm the patient down, to strengthen all the muscles and tendons in general. Ganun siya. So that's one thing I love about acupuncture because so Western medicine, let's say you diagnose a patient and then there's a plan. Or you take these medicines for a while, or let's see an
Yeah.
effect. With
Mm-mm.
acupuncture or Chinese medicine, acupuncture lang pala, I diagnose a patient and okay, lie down. We fix it now. Parang
Yeah.
ganun.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, I think. Ganun. May immediate effect siya with acupuncture.
And I think the science behind it also, right, is like with the needles, you help to kind of stimulate blood flow to go
Yeah,
to
that's one.
certain areas as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's one.
yeah.
That's one
What,
scientific way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah. When I had my experience, I was surprised at how thin and small the needles were. Like, I did not, in my head, I was expecting, like, alam mo yung
Syringe.
pangkarayom. Yeah, I was expecting that. So
What
I was
happened?
so scared. And I was like, "Oh my God, how do people do this?" And then I had mine done and I didn't feel a thing. Like takot lang akong gumalaw because I
Yeah,
could see like they were like, there were like
on you.
needles protruding out of my hand or whatever. But I was
Yeah.
surprised. I didn't feel anything.
The diameter of the needle is about 1/5 of the syringe needle. They're so small. They're
Yeah,
almost hair-like. And in some parts of the body, you won't even feel it coming in. Because
definitely.
diba, it's
Yeah.
very, very tiny, very thin. So, well, some people don't feel it. But actually, the Chinese way of doing acupuncture, you want the patient to feel some points. But they're not sharp. Like,
Yes,
sometimes
no.
there's a heavy feeling.
Hmm.
Sometimes there's like a small bit of electrocution,
Yeah,
but konti lang, like less than 1 second lang nawawala naman siya. The
yeah.
heaviness sometimes lingers. But in Chinese medicine, they want that. They want you
Mm.
they call it the qi. They want the qi to come to the area. So they say that sometimes pa nga, you have to like re-stimulate the needle, like you move it around, you punch it a little bit more, or
Mm.
put the electro acu machine if you've seen that. Like
I
we
haven't
connect
yet.
some
Yeah,
nodes to the acupuncture needle because we have to keep stimulating it. Like you keep calling the chi to the area, or you
got it.
keep picking up that point for it to tell your body to do something.
Mm-mm.
Ganun siya.
Interesting. And I think what I love about, I don't know if other TCM practitioners do this, but what I love about like when you get it done at Centro, like there are so many ways to personalize your acupuncture session, like the
Definitely.
using like heat lamps, using like maraming mga add-ons depending on what it is that you need.
Yeah. The heat lamp naman. Well, my mentor uses that a lot, especially on the abdomen. Remember, like we have to warm the abdomen. Like think of your stomach as like a pot. Like it has to stay warm for it to keep burning. But you're burning food.
Mhm.
So kaya nga that's one reason why you shouldn't eat cold eh. It doesn't it ruins the function of your stomach. That's why we put it over abdomens. And in Chinese medicine kasi, they say that to boost the qi in your body, you have to strengthen your stomach qi. So in a way, I guess it's like looking at gut health. Like for gut health, um, like think of the stomach as like a machine. So if you eat good food, but your stomach isn't running well, you're not able to
Mhm.
extract all the nutrients from it. So ganun si
Yeah,
Chinese medicine. We have very philosophical terms kasi. So they say, the source of post-heaven chi. Post-heaven is like after you're born. Post-heaven chi is the stomach. So you have to make sure the stomach is running well. So that's why we use heat lamps over the stomach. We strengthen the
got
stomach.
it.
So your capability to extract more chi for your body is so much better. And then you have more energy after. Sabi sa dami parang pinagsama-sama mga ginagawa eh. To create
Yeah,
that big effect after the session.
that
You know?
is so interesting. Like
Mm,
it's so I guess like it also helps, it definitely helps of course your stomach area since everything is kind of there, helps
yeah.
stimulate the liver, the kidneys since it's all
It
there.
warms up. Yeah, like you know how like before a workout you warm up. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with I guess with life. Your body has to be warm for it to function, for all the
Mm,
organs to function. That's the whole basis of
yeah.
heat, we say. Like removing
Mm.
cold, adding heat
It's
to the body.
what's kind of amazing for me is that even though we're like in this era of we have medicine, we have all these surgeries, etc., we still go back to the basics,
Oh
which
yeah.
in this case is TCM. And even though like it's been like it's a centuries old practice, ano pa rin siya, no? It still makes sense today. It still
Yeah.
makes sense for us to practice it today. Preferably when we're not sick and we don't require surgery, et cetera, et cetera. It's just such a nice complementary medicine to keep us
Yeah.
healthy talaga for longer and to address those issues that we have that's mostly in our lifestyle.
Yeah.
Um, before the big stuff kind of comes up that we need to go into a hospital and see a conventional doctor.
Yeah. One thing they say about DCM is that the big difference again between Eastern and Western is that Western keeps looking for something new. It keeps evolving. They keep looking outside. Like what
Mm.
worked? Okay, this doesn't work anymore. What else will work again? More studies, you know? But with Eastern medicine, they always look at the core of your being. They
Yeah.
keep studying what was discovered in the past. Like what they know before has never changed. They
Yeah.
just add more to it. So that's kaya nga I think the main difference nga is, diba, I keep saying we bring balance back to the body because they studied what makes a balanced body very, very well. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever they thought thousands of years ago still remains true because you're
Yeah.
still a human being. It's still the core of being human. And we
Yeah.
just bring this person back there.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes a lot of work. So
Yeah.
Western medicine, with our modern life, because we have to, ano naman din kasi, we have to recognize that so many changes has happened in this modern times.
Yeah.
That
For sure.
yeah, and in hospitals also kasi. So I understand in hospitals they deal with so many patients going there. So they have to find something that's safe enough for a crowd and that will work right away for a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look at it a bit like a band-aid solution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like sige, you're sick. They're very, very good in fixing you at that moment.
Yeah.
But I think after that, you have to find a way to bring your body back into balance to prevent that illness from coming back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of us fail to recognize in this age of instant gratification. It's there is the long-term work that really goes into, if you want to live till you're like 90, 100, we really need to put in the work now. And I think understanding our bodies and its function and its limits and its capabilities, I think, is so important. And for me, like having something like TCM there to help you understand, like, oh, it is about balance. There's something that's not balanced in your body, which is why, you need to change your lifestyle, or you need to change your mindset, or you need a meditation practice
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
right, to
yeah,
complement everything that we're doing for you in terms of, acupuncture or herbal supplements, etc.
yeah,
I think that's the huge aha moment. Like, you can never really take a break, right?
yeah.
And just say, oh, I'm gonna go back to my health next month now. I'm just gonna be super stressed out, and I'm gonna, like, eat all of my emotions for this month, and I'll be fine next month. I'll just restart it again. It doesn't really work that way. It really is a lifestyle that is created. And I think, for me at least, having that background of traditional Chinese medicine and seeing the results from the,
Mhm.
like, from the Chinese who live till they're like 100, and
Yeah.
they're still like hiking up, like, they're still hiking up and down, like, the streets. Like, I went there and I see like lolas who can like outwalk me. Like, it's embarrassing. Um,
Because
you know,
they know how to balance their energies. They know how to use their energies.
exactly. And they're
Yeah.
and they're just so calm. That's I think that is the huge difference. Like, like, you go to like these countries where TCM is the norm,
Mm-hmm.
and their people are just so calm. Like, like, it takes a lot to get them angry or to get like a huge emotion out of them. They're just, chill. Like, I have my meditation practice. I know I cannot control this, so I will not get mad at it. I'm just gonna sit here and sip my tea.
You know, there's one thing I like telling patients, especially the ones who come to me for psychological issues. I say
Hmm.
in Chinese medicine, yeah, but we don't have mga diagnoses that I told you like Western medicine does. When someone is depressed or with a lot of anxiety, one thing we call that is liver qi stagnation. So
Hmm.
we just say that your qi is stagnating. That's why that's why you're having all of these manifestations.
Hmm.
That's diba kanina I mentioned yan about chi being stuck. Could be pain, could be cysts, it could be mental emotional issues. So
Hmm.
that's why probably you say like the lolas are so chill because they continue doing practices that keep their energy flowing. they have no chi stagnation. So
Mm.
that's one way I treat patients with anxiety and depression. You notice where there's a very strong imbalance, and you just let open up the channel and you make things flow again. And there's
Mm.
a huge difference. I really see it. And people are more like your chill lolas in China. Like they're a lot happier. They're a lot more calm.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't see it, but I see it. Parang, oh, you're not fidgeting na. You're
Mm.
plano ka ng bakasyon. Parang ganon. Like they're so happy all of a sudden. Yeah.
So it really helps. It really is a mindset. But yeah, I think my biggest learning like for this session really is it's not just physical. Even with TCM, like in my head it used to be, oh, okay, it's a physical thing because I have to take these like herbal supplements or drink this tea and it's solving my physical issues. But there are still, like most of our holistic practices, there are layers
Yeah.
talaga to what we're going through and everything is interconnected. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dr. Lisa.
No problem. I mean, like, one of the last things I want to say is what I love about DCM is how well it it merges spirituality and science.
Mhm.
It's heavily based on Taoism and certain Buddhist practices, more Taoism actually.
Mm.
Like you really have to ascribe to these spiritual practices. Well, you don't have to go all monk, but kumbaga,
Yeah.
what they teach in Taoism applies to us now for good health. So that's one thing I love. Like it's a very philosophical and spiritual approach to health. You see.
Yeah.
So for people who are into that, they could consider this for health maintenance.
For sure. And I think like it's starting to become a trend now because like you have people from the West like moving to places like Bali or provinces in China because they do want to find that like that inner peace and get away from that stressful job, etc. I think us as Filipinos, we're in this unique position that we get the best of both worlds. We get the best
Yeah.
of the East, we get the best of the West. And I think just getting that exposure as well to just the foundations or the basics of Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and just seeing how that works in our lives. And I love how it's presented at Centro because it's not presented as like this woo-woo thing that, take it or leave it. It really is integrated into the practices of, I think, all of our Centro doctors. So,
Yeah, everyone does acupuncture. Yeah.
yeah, and like for me, like everything is like based on results. So if I see results, then I'm gonna buy into that 100%. And I have seen a lot of results for that, and that's why people keep coming back for acupuncture service, even if like wala naman sila pinagdadaanan, right?
Wala.
They're just like, oh, I just want to relax. Like I just want to come in for an acu session para magpahinga.
Yeah, exactly. As in, I have some patients na parang well, wala na kasing fixed lunch break ngayon, di ba? But they just pass by the clinic. Parang nagmamadali sila because like they have an hour between work. They want to like super calm down. Like all the phones are off. They just really pass out on the bed with needles. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Exactly.
Go.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
May mga ganun ako. Like they're so stressed because like I think what's hard now, so work from home setup, is some people are parang constantly on call because the companies think on sa yan, ganon. So,
Wala
parang
nang work-life balance.
wala. So, tumatakas sila sa akin minsan para, like, literally, kasi sometimes acupuncture, what people don't realize, you can pass out on the bed. Like, some points are so strong. Like, they have very strong, very mental, emotional effects. Na patient, para silang, I don't know, like 8 hours of sleep in 30 minutes. Parang ganon. Kaya some people come for that. So some people, I want people to experience it. Like they should try because of that part. The
For sure. Even if it's just an acu detox, just come in for an acu detox and just see how it affects your sleep, how it affects your stress.
Exactly.
Right. Some people get a mini crying session because it just releases these emotions that they've been packing down.
Exactly.
So
I've used that on patients. Na I've seen them cry like hagulgol in front of me. I was like, okay, more. Let's release more. Okay. Good job.
Let's move it around a little bit.
Yeah, let's clean you up. Ganon.
Yeah. Tina says, thank you for explaining this so well. I've been going to Dr. Ven for acupuncture sessions and FM for years. I've learned so much from her, but this session has made me appreciate the process even more. Yes, same. Like it just opened up a whole new. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to schedule my next acupuncture session now, just because I'm like, okay, I need to rebalance my chi again. I don't know if it needs balancing, but I want to do it again.
Yeah, it always needs balancing. That you think you don't, but always does.
For sure. There's always something there that we can always upgrade or need help with. And yeah, and we have Doc Issa to help us with that. So Doc, we're at the top of the hour. If any of our people that are watching want to find you, where can they find you? Which Centro clinics? What days?
Right now, I'm with QC 3 times a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. On Wednesdays, I'm with Pasig. Other days, I could be on call if needed.
Mhm.
If I'm in Manila. If needed, if I'm in Manila. I could be on call. Those are my clinic days. 4 times a week lang. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so you can find Doc Issa mostly in QC, sometimes at the Grove in Pasig. And yeah, that's it for our traditional Chinese medicine. I hope you guys learned a lot. Thank you so much, Doc Issa, for joining me this Sunday, spending your morning with us, just talking about the Chinese medicine and your passion for it. I've learned so much.
Yeah. Next time again. So I know I show diagrams so you could further understand things, but next time. Maybe.
Next time. Our traditional Chinese medicine advanced.
Yeah, I know. Parang level up tayo next time. Like lecture series na siya.
Yes. I'd love that. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining another Sunday with us. We'll see you again next Sunday. So yeah, bye for now. Bye, guys.